Hey, good evening. It's 6:06 p.m. It is Tuesday evening, January 28th. I just recently got home. I took a small break and I'm going to be doing the dishes. This is usually my routine. Like I get home and I kind of like regroup a little bit, and then I go do the dishes, and then I take my shower, and then I kind of hang out for the rest of the night. That's how I get into my little relax mode. But I wanted to come on here and make a quick video because there's been a lot of stuff on my mind. Like especially yesterday, I started rolling in, started getting some messages, and I wrote some of them down. I am in writer mode right now, meaning like, a lot of the thoughts that are coming through my mind, I'm recording them in my journal, okay? Because my journal eventually, all the notes that I write down are eventually going to be part of the work that I'm doing, right? My projects, right? So I'm working on two different projects at the same time. I'm working on the autodidacts, and I'm working on talking about revising workplace, whatever. So, and I haven't given that a name, an official name yet, okay? Because I'm talking about a lot of different issues that I've experienced in the past, not as a point out finger argument book, okay? That's not the point of the book. What the book is talking about how, uh, how to structure a workplace, okay? Basically, is what it is. So I'm using examples that I've experienced in the past as forms of information on how to move forward. Now I wanted to talk about some of the intuitive messages that I was getting, and I do know that I think it was was it a few days ago or even a week ago, I don't know how long it's been since I made the last video. I'm really not keeping track of my videos. I have been doing my nails, okay, because I don't go to the nail salon mainly because I'm a very impatient person, okay. And I don't really wear fingernails a lot, but I am trying to shift different energies, experience different things, because I'm trying to lift my mood, right? And so I know that in the past I had been like mobbed at work with stupid coworkers telling me certain things about, and I'm going to be very, very clear about this, okay, on how I feel about certain things that might be looked upon as a little bit outrageous to some people. Okay. Now, I work in an office where generally I don't see too many people. Okay. The office, I'm going to consider the office as a closed environment. Okay. But if I was interacting with customers on a daily basis, like I was out in front and center, I probably wouldn't be wearing nail polish. Okay. I do understand that there's certain things that, you can't really, it's not a good idea to do anything and everything cannot be done. Okay, but I consider myself to be a very well dressed person, someone who exudes, professionalism, even though, I don't really think that the place that I work right now requires as much professionalism as I am. Okay, what I mean by that is like, this is just who I am. Okay, so I'm sure people saw my black nail polish. And I wanted to say, yes, I have been doing my nails lately because I'm trying to take advantage of everything that I have in my life right now because I have went through hell going in these last few years. So I'm doing everything I can to enjoy the rest of my life. Okay, which I want to talk a little bit more about this as we go along. Now today I switched to these nails, right? And you're probably wondering, why is these other nail a different color? Okay, now I have a few different kits and they're all very inexpensive, of different nails, okay, different colors, because I'm getting to the point where I don't even want to paint my nails anymore. Okay, that's how when it comes to doing nails, I'm very lazy. I don't want to even paint my nails anymore. So these things usually come in different colors. You can add decorations if you want to. Some come in different like little nail art designs and stuff like that, but I try to keep it as basic as I possibly can. Okay, the reason why this nail cut nail is different than the others, and you're probably thinking, okay, Maria's doing magic, it has some sort of symbolism. This is the truth, okay? The reason why is because I actually write down the number of the fingernail size on the pack. Like I pay attention. Okay, it's like my thumb is like a number one, right? So then on the package, I'll write number one. So when I change out my nails, I'll know which number to look for in the little pack, right? Well, it comes out that these two fingers right here, these two fingers have the same size. They're number twos, right? And when it came to this particular color of nails, this I'm going to call it like a orangish type pink color. It's kind of I don't know, it's a different color. Matches my shirt anyway. So this particular color only had one for each finger. So I'm like, okay, the other nails would not fit. So I'm like, what's gonna look okay with this. So I just threw this one on, okay? So not everything I do has some sort of magic intent. Some of it's just convenient. Some of it's just being clever, making out do with what I have or whatever. I rolled with it. So anyway, let's talk about some of the messages that I've been getting, right? So I've been doing some intuitive past life readings, as well as I've been breaking out my tarot cards as well as my playing cards to get down to this whole CB Braganza stuff, because and I don't want to talk about it too much because I would like to leave a little bit more of this information for my second quarter newsletter. But you know who I am, like to the root of who I am. Okay, coming to know that I am Prince. No, sorry, Prince. Sorry, so. Excuse me. A step up, King Solomon. I'm actually King Solomon. Okay, which is deep for me, right? Because King Solomon is a big figure in the Bible. Well, apparently, I wanted to know exactly what is if I am a character from the Bible, okay, which people looked at King Solomon as a prophet. People who did not understand his association as an attachment and his ideals in his direction towards the occult, okay? Because here's the thing. King Solomon was around a lot of traditional people, okay? And what happens when religion and tradition mix, it becomes like so solidified into the minds of anyone and everybody in a group setting that anybody who thinks outside of that group becomes like, well, whatever, you know what I mean? But King Solomon never fell out of favor with God. People didn't like the fact that King Solomon had a very open mind, was very experimental, and didn't have the same hangups as the people that he knew in that group. I have always been that way as Maria Gordon for as long as I can remember. Chances are I was like that at CB Braganza as well. It's all the way down the line. Okay. So, yeah, I've been doing a lot of thinking about this. So I wrote down some messages and I'm going to share it. I got the intuitive message that the divine forces, okay, the universal forces, God, however you want to call it, okay, wanted me to be on Earth to improve conditions as long as I see. Now this is how being a prophet works, okay? How I feel towards mankind and my mission that was assigned to me on a spiritual level. I do believe that mankind is very low in moral character. Like they don't have any sense of guidance. Now, me, I've always stayed out of politics. I have no interest involving myself in politics. Everybody knows I've always been kind of like the loner who kept to myself. Now I realize just how big this operation was, and I see why that's the case, okay? But I do recall as I got older, I made a conscious decision that I did not want to have anything to do with the ideals of the crooked people that I have known in my life and what I saw in society in general. That was my choice, okay? Why? Because everything that I do in my life is not illegal. Okay, that what it means is I choose to make conscious decisions for my highest good. Okay, now, and that's it. I mean, that's not being rebellious. It's not like hurting anybody. It's not damaging anyone's property. It's just that I believe in living with a certain code of ethics and whatever. Okay, this is who I am. So, but this is something that is divine. Like I came here for divine reasons, okay, because I was fit for the job accordingly, apparently, okay. So obviously this must be done on some sort of distant level because I've never told people to live like me. I've never told anybody to imitate anything that I do. But because I am a genius, people take things that I say very seriously. Okay, so anyway, the next thing is I had got the intuitive message, or I'm not going to say it's like a confirmed message, but this is coming through my mind, like I'm thinking about it, okay? I had mentioned in one of my videos, let's talk about aliens. I was talking about, some of the religion. Oh, was that the video that I put it in? Some of the religions that were, just kind of evolving, okay, during the time of when CB Braganza was, bouncing around from Lancaster and eventually made his way to Boston and all this other stuff, okay? I know there was a lot of different new thought movements as well as different organized religions relating to, which I believe now, I'm starting to think more about how Jehovah's Witnesses play into this. So it makes me wonder because now here's the thing about this Solomon person, King Solomon, okay? King Solomon is a highly revered figure in Christianity as well as Islam. Now, I do know that a lot of white supremacist groups were saying that King Solomon was a cursed person. This is the reason why they believe this is because of his disagreements that King Solomon had with the people of his time. And obviously, in my other incarnations of different lives or whatever, the same issue has been coming around. I have the right to believe what I want to believe. Okay, I do have the right to believe what I never believed that. Now, I'm not trying to bring up the religious issue. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I do believe that this was the reason why my people that I knew felt justified in their bullying behavior. This is because, and I'm going to tell you that because I have nothing but contempt for these people. And the reason why I cannot sit here and just shrug it away, and I have to look at these people as evil anyway, regardless of who influenced them. And I'm going to tell you why. The reason why is because we tend to gravitate towards things that appeal to our ego. Okay, this is why a lot of people, a lot of hate groups, tend to attract members, right? Or any sort of religious group tries to, or religious group, or any sort of group in general. Okay, they do this in advertising. They do, whether good, bad, highly exaggerated, or whatever. Okay, some of it's not so bad. Some of it is, whatever, reasonable, and some of it's just as outright bad, right? Well, the thing is that these people felt a sense of superiority, and they felt entitled. Okay, now here's my perspective on God punishment. If I was truly indeed a punished person from God, okay, my punishment is sufficient enough. Why in the world would somebody want to mock somebody who is already carrying the heavy weight of something that was, given to them? You know what I mean? The reason why is because you're evil. That's why. And I have thought about your evil behavior towards me for a very long time. And because the reason why is because I keep thinking, how do I pardon that? And I cannot pardon it. It is what it is, okay? And I have the right to feel this way. And I was left with trauma. You know what I mean? I deal with trauma every day. I get up every day and I go to work and I deal with stuff. And it's fine. I'm functioning fine, okay? But don't think that, oh, she's over it. Or she's, because I don't have a lot. Because thanks to these people, these wicked people, they took a lot of things out of my life. Because these people were hoping that I was going to commit suicide. Now, C.B. Braganza committed suicide. Okay, now apparently C.B. Braganza, King Solomon, every life that he's had a very long life. He has a very strong build. He's built, okay? Like I was originally built as a man, okay? So I'm built, meaning I can withstand a lot of things, especially mentally, okay? Because this was a Nazi operation that was meant to destroy a person. I will tell you, they accomplished their goal when they killed my father. Okay. And a part of it was the medications that they were giving him, number one. And number two, I will tell you the emotional trauma that the majority of people, that the majority of people would not have been able to handle this sort of emotional trauma. They would not. Okay. Coming to realize that their family is fake and that these people were like hounds of hell. Literally, I want to call these people hellhounds, okay? Like literally wanting me to have my life destroyed so that they could feel good about themselves. See, this is why I don't like group activity. This is it. Now, these are the same people cannot claim to be, Bible thumpers. They probably rarely crack open the Bible themselves. And I do recall these kids that I grew up with hated me because I was the one who was more into the Bible at that time than anyone else. So what we see is hypocrites and we see evil people. So why am I bringing it up? Because I understand that on so many levels, I deal with a lot of mental anger to this day at 54 years old, feeling set back every single year. And it's going to come up. It bubbles up from time to time. You know what I mean? Because I mean, it's right that I do feel this way because I've suffered for something that I didn't deserve to suffer for. You know what I mean? And it tells their true heart by the fact that what they did, why I'm bringing this up with what they did, because I know I've talked about this so many times, okay? But I'm getting messages about them believing, okay, that I was a cursed person. No, I was a person who was ostracized on purpose through white supremacist groups who cloned me. Okay? All on their own. This was their whole shebang. I had nothing to do with it, right? Now, apparently, I had lived a very, very long life as CB Braganza. I ended up in a mental institution that was probably by the design on their part, okay? So CB Braganza committed suicide, right? You should have let me go right there. Okay, but you wanted to bring this person back, right? And I don't believe in shortening my life just because, okay, because I'm not going to do that, okay? But my point is that these people believed in something because it made them feel good. Okay, and I know that there was a lot of what I call Christian arrogance when I was dealing with the workplace mobbing, as well as me seeing the inconsistencies in their favoritism, claiming to be Christian while the targeting was going on with me. Because I remember this kid that I grew up with, who was a perp, a target, and a part of the Nazi party, right, was telling me that, he considered himself to be Buddhist. But why wasn't anybody jumping down his throat and trying to convert him? This is my question, okay? So anyway, I was thinking that perhaps maybe, that the Jehovah's Witness religion, okay, because they looked at me and studied me, thought that perhaps maybe I was immortal. Now, there is no proof that C.B. Braganza or King Solomon was an immortal, but there is proof that he had a very long life. Like he has endurance, like you just can't believe, okay? And, what I find sick about this is that if we look at this from the point of who is wicked and who is not, I cannot help but think that everybody who was associated with this, who participated in the bullying, conspired, got together, I'm going to say that they're wicked. Okay, that my blood, not my blood relation, who I thought was my blood relations, are not my blood relations, my adoptive family, blah 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 blah. I was also thinking, how, what makes me angry is the nerve. Okay, the nerve of people behaving in the way that they did when it was like overstepping a person. You know what I mean? These people enjoyed what they were doing. They enjoyed it. They were sick individuals, okay? And on so many levels, on the human level of me, okay? Every day that I'm sitting here set back, struggling, meaning like I struggle with, I go to work every day and I'm fine. I like getting out of the house, okay? But mind you, I'm 54 years old. I have not been able to build for myself. Okay, all because of what these people wanted to do. You know what I mean? I'm 54 years old and I always wonder, okay, what's going to happen to me now? You know what I mean? So it's like, I have every right to feel the way that I do. So it is a lot of repressed anger that I feel, and it's understandable. The next message that I got was, some people want to know, where do I base my morality? Okay. I think I've mentioned before, when I was growing up as Maria Gordon, nobody in my family ever encouraged me to read the Bible. No one. Okay. I know we in my family studied the Bible with the Jehovah's Witnesses, they touch and go type stuff, but nobody ever said, Maria, it's 3:00, go get your Bible, read it. I took that on my own. Okay. I took it very seriously. I spent my life researching religious or biblical information because it mattered to me. to be on the right path mattered to me. Okay, so when it comes to like my morality, my morals are based on, number one, I do not ever want to go against the current, like the natural forces of what goes on with like God. Okay, what some people call God. Okay, meaning I don't ever want to offend God. So where people were sitting here looking at me and assuming that I was somebody who was who didn't love God or did, that's all I've ever loved. That's all I ever loved. And the only being that's really been worthy of my love. Okay. But what I would say is that the majority, my morality started with me asking God when I was a child. I'm going to say the word God, okay? I don't like using that term, okay? Because like I said, so many people have just cheapened it with their plastic religion, okay? I wanted to make sure that I didn't make major life mistakes. Like I didn't want to, number one, here's how I live. I'm going to be writing a little bit more about my principles, meaning how I live. Now, I don't tell other people how to live, okay? But I'm going to tell you how I see it. And this is my explanation as to what gives me my morality. Okay, number one, I don't ever want to offend God. I don't ever want to offend God. Okay, and everybody knows that Maria has studied all kinds of stuff. I've never offended God. In all my lives, I have been blessed. Believe it or not. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, my life is not to intersect or harm anybody at all. Okay, like I can't tell you anytime I have to borrow something or whatever. I can try to tell you I do the best I can to compensate people. I always want to make sure that I do not ever affect a person's life journey on the slightest. On the slightest. You know what I mean? And if I do, then I have to compensate for that. Why? Because in my life, I don't ever want to be responsible for causing anybody any pain. That is the number two, the second principle that I have. Number one, do not offend God. Number two, do not affect anyone's life journey. Period. Okay. Now I have been a very strong person my entire life. Okay. I recall having a child and raising my child all by myself. Never asked anybody for anyone. Why? I never expected Bruce's life journey. When Bruce told me he wasn't taking responsibility, I took responsibility myself. Never asked him for anything. But here's this pompous pig who felt like he had some sort of entitlement to come into my life and tell me what to do. Oh, and he was a part of my persecution. Fuck you. You and your mom and your dad. And everyone else, and Jennifer and everyone else down there. Today, I'm in one of those moods. Today, I'm 54 and I'm reflecting on my life and I'm looking at where I am and fuck you. And how else am I supposed to feel? You people think that you're just going to be like, okay, she's going to be okay. You left me for dead. Okay? Because it appealed to your ego. That's why everybody got involved in this, because it appealed to the ego. When I was younger, I prayed to God. I said, I don't want anything to appeal to my ego. Okay, just like the whole idea about, the blacks being Egyptians and all this other stuff. We talked about this. When I was a kid, I seriously said, okay, if black people were the Egyptians, okay, then okay. But I don't want to believe that if it's not true. And I do not want it to add to any of this idea of supremacy. Because one thing I hated more than anything was these white pompous people who always used other people who did great things. Right? They would live vicariously through the accomplishments of other people. Okay? And I didn't expect that. Okay? I wanted to live on my own. Everything I do as an individual. I don't hide behind anybody. I am 100%. This is me. Okay, those are my principles. Okay, and I'm strong and I'm almost goddamn downright militant about it. Why? Because I believe that it's the correct way of life. I don't hurt other people, but I had a lot of sick people who wanted to hurt me, including, okay, my son's father who's done nothing. I raised my son by myself. Okay, he may have chosen my employment behind the scenes, but he had no right to. Okay, I resent these people feeling entitled to have their hands in manipulating any part of my life. Okay, when they had no good intentions, and he's just one of them. Okay, he's just one of the many people that I hate. It is what it is. Okay, so where do I get my morality? And so when people act against what I personally believe is moral, I don't want anything to do with them. It's that simple. You know what I mean? I have never been against God. Ever. It's just that a lot of people have thought that because it was not orthodox, meaning it wasn't something that they identified as a part of their tradition, they didn't understand it. So therefore we have to label it. And that's evil. I've never been evil. And as far as my interest in the occult, I've never been like into dark arts or anything like that. And I've read a little bit about dark arts because it exists. Like, how far can people go with this sort of stuff? You know, you do read about that sort of stuff. But I'm into trees. I'm into rocks. I'm into energy. I'm into that sort of stuff. I'm not into, like, you know, all that other stuff. Where do I get my morality? My morality comes from me being steadfast in harming nothing and no one. And I'm always giving my credit to the divine. Always. Okay? That right there gives me my morality. I do not need somebody telling me how to live my life because I am a good person. Not good. I mean, no one's good but God. No one is, right? Or I hate to use the word God because, like I said, I cannot stand the hypocrites that got in my life who wanted to try to tell me, who wanted to punish me because God wasn't doing a good enough job. They wanted to throw their 2 cents in too. Like I said, I cannot tell you how much I hate you and how much you deserve to be hated. Hey, it is what it is. I have always been a moral person, or tried to be. If you recall back in the day, this is the reason why I was persecuted when I was a kid. Maria's goofy, Maria is into the Bible, Maria's a goody two-shoes. Now, I have done a lot of things in my life that I'm not proud of, okay? But I was evolving, I was learning, and I understood these things. And once I understood the things that I did wrong, I tried not to do them again, right? So I would say that I live a moral life, okay? I would like to know what these people who were jumping down my throat and trying to make my life miserable, blocking me, preventing me from having anything, what made them think that I was not a moral person? Where is their morality? See, this is one of the things I never liked about Christian people. Okay, like I said, I had nothing against people who wanted to serve God or Jesus, whatever. It had nothing to do with that. What I hated is that they had this sick sense of entitlement. So you're a Christian. So what? Does that mean that you are, what does that make you better? Does it make you more moral? Because I have never seen one Christian that I knew personally that had any morals. And I will tell you what, if they got involved in this, that just goes to show you they had none. It is what it is. Okay. So no, I take my morals very seriously. Okay. Now I understand some people have been like convinced to believe that, you know, because like I said, a lot of these people, their attraction to what they believe is ego driven. So it felt better for them to tell themselves that I was wicked. It felt better for them to believe that I was cursed by God, and instead of believing the truth that I was a part of a German Nazi experiment and that they are just as guilty as a fucking Nazi for believing it. But they didn't want to hear the truth. That is the truth. So all these years you've been making my life a living hell. So I'm 54 years old and I'm trying to figure out what the fuck am I going to do with my life? And I ain't dare going to take myself out to make you happy. You wicked fucking people. That's exactly what you are. You're fucking wicked. Okay, you can sit here and say, oh, the Nazis made me do it. No, you liked it because it appealed to your ego. Like I said, did you not think that God was doing a good enough job? If I was seriously being punished, that is for him to do. You do not mock something like that. You're cruel and you're evil, and you deserve to die. The next thing. I choose, in my life, I believe in free will. And what we do with our free will means a lot to God. Meaning, You know how it's, I thought it was funny, like a couple days ago, I was thinking, like yesterday, I was in really deep thought about this. Like, I know a lot of people were persecuting me, trying to bully me and stuff. I know we're over that, okay? But I will tell you the trauma has just, it really got to me because you kept me out of work for a very long time. You affected my credit, okay? At an old age, okay? And then got pompous about it. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay. Now, I believe that what I do with my free will is important. I live an upstanding life. I live an upstanding life. I mean, meaning I'm a good person. You can never say that I am responsible for causing any pain, especially not the kind of pain that you've caused in my life. I would never ever want to claim any of that. Um, yeah, I did talk about the long life of King Solomon and the other incarnations or whatever. Okay, so yes, I did. I am a spirit being from heaven. Okay, and apparently these people cloned me after I've when I committed suicide in 1956, I must have done so that I felt that it was necessary to do so at that time. Okay, and then I ended up getting cloned again. Okay, and lived a very difficult life with demonic people, among demonic people. Okay, pompous, arrogant, misguided people who never did any research in the Bible, but they were just like really pig-headed and enjoyed the idea of it abusing somebody and convincing themselves that they were right to do it. That's what happened with me, and that's it. You know what I mean? I've always cared about living a wholesome life. My idea of wholesome and what's moral is completely different than what you guys is, what it is for you guys. You know what I mean? And what you guys like to do is get around together and destroy people's lives. You know what I mean? And then give people like very shallow apologies. You know what I mean? For it. You know what I mean? Where like my life has been like literally thrown, not just once, but several times, right? And you guys think that that's completely okay because you're evil. The next question thing I want to say is liars, yes, bring up wicked people. Yeah, for self interest. Yeah, I know that a couple of nights ago, was it a couple of nights ago, or it was a few weeks ago. Every day it's the same with me, right? Anyway, there was this video they were talking about. I know they must have been talking about me because people talk about me not being orthodox. Okay, I did separate from. I've never really been an official member of a church, but when people think of orthodox, I think of tradition, right? You think of tradition. My life did not allow me to have a tradition. My life did not allow me to have a foundation. I am not anybody's child. Okay, I was created from an experiment. Okay, so I was not raised in a religion. Okay, but it gave me the opportunity to study different religions and make my own decisions. Okay, I do know that a lot of traditions were not necessarily in great favor of like things like women, you know. And when you think about people who, if I was to take certain things literally, like some people thought I was a bad person because I chose not to get married. I cannot take the risk of being abused. Okay, and just about everybody thought it was okay to abuse me. Okay, why? Because important people believed something that was completely warped. They forgotten the original plan about cloning. Like nobody remembered that I didn't bring any of this on myself. I didn't ask for this, right? But still, people got involved in it. And like I said, just like in the situation at work, if a person in a position of power does something, people think it's okay to do that. It's not okay. Okay, but you did get the wrong information, or you didn't think very clearly or think it through. Today, I'm in one of those moods where I just need to like clean my slate. Like, I just feel like there's a lot building up inside of me that I need to talk about, and I need to release it. And unfortunately, I don't have that sort of like, support system. Because my support system, that was never my support system anyway, were either affiliated with Nazis, black people who were fooled by Nazis, or something else. You know what I mean? They weren't good people. So I have no one in my life. Okay. I deal with a lot on my own. Okay. Through wicked people. That completely undeserved. You know what I mean? I don't deserve that. I don't deserve to sit here and have to start from zero every single. You know how many times I've started over? You know? And no, I'm not going to give you your wish to kill myself. You guys are evil. You know what I mean? And this is one of the reasons my biggest issue with Christian people is because they hide behind their self-hatred with other issues, trying to act like it's something, righteous to be, the people that they are, like the wicked people that they are. And I was thinking about, the people that in my life who wanted to dictate the things that I do, like my sister Tanya. You're wicked. No, I don't miss any of these people. Tanya, wicked. My sister Lisa, wicked. Bruce, his mom, his brother, all these people, fucking wicked. Trying to have me killed is what you were trying to do, or support this whole idea. You're disgusting. You know what I mean? Disgusting. Anyway, holy cow. You know what I mean? Okay, so when I want to talk about a little bit more about the issue of morality, like when I think about Christians, and I'm seriously thinking, I've never thought that most Christians were moral. Now they'll say things like, "Oh, what makes them moral? Why do they feel as though they're moral?" And what made me immoral to them? Is it because I take care of myself? And the funny thing about a lot of Christian women, especially Christian women, I've seen a lot of fat Christian women. Okay, now I know the Bible talks about gluttony, but somehow they forget. This is what I'm talking about, the pick and choose. I'm going to pick scriptures, or I'm going to live by, and then I'm going to just discard the rest. Don't get me wrong, babe. When it comes to the Bible, I'm not saying throw the Bible out. Okay, but I also know there was a lot of manipulation when it comes to the Bible too, especially when you bring in the whole element of the cloning thing, right? So, and I know that King Solomon contributed to some of the scriptures himself. Okay. But I do also know that the majority of the people who attacked me rarely cracked open a Bible. Okay. I am not evil. There's nothing evil about me. You know what I mean? And it's just like I tend to be the reflection of people's wickedness. You know what I mean? It's deep. It's very deep. Okay, so when it comes to me, yeah, I'm a very moral person. When it comes to Christianity, no, my sister Tanya had no morals. Her husband had no morals. I've been thinking a lot about how the lack of morality within these Christian people. Okay, now here, get this. Now, we talked about, in my newsletter, I talk about the whole issue of the Vril, about, this particular group talking about not mixing with people who were what they consider the colored races. We got Jim Culligan, we got my other brother-in-law, Jeff Hughes. They both come in, marry black women, right? Violating their own rule. Because if you really think about this whole thing started. They came and married into this group, mind control, and then had children. You had children. This is why I have no respect for you. This is why I do not respect you. Okay? Because your religion makes no sense. Especially when you combine it. I mean, I don't have anything against Christianity. It's the whole Nazi fusion thing. It's the whole, brainwashing, mind control stuff, okay? You wanted to be a part of this thing so bad that you were willing to violate your own belief system, marry a black woman, and then bring in children on top of it. Tell me you're not evil. Okay? So anyway, I would never do the things that you do. I also know that a lot of people that I grew up with who were associated with the Christian religion, at least the ones that I knew, okay, a lot of them struggled with mental illness. My sister Tanya was extremely mentally ill. Of course, she was mentally ill. She had her husband abusing her and everything else. And I do think that she had a lot of perps following her around when she was growing up and stuff like that. She really was a mental biscuit case. And I just talked about the whole connection with Nazis. No, I don't have any respect for the Christian faith. I don't. Okay. But like I said, I've always looked at things like I've never had an issue with Jesus, like, I've talked about Jesus, and when I talk about Jesus, I talk about him being a prophet of God. And I do know that, I do suspect, okay, that people had tried to compare me to Jesus. I'm not here to play games. Okay, I wouldn't be here at all, had I not been cloned. And no, like I said, I'm not taking myself out. Okay. At least not yet. If I go over a certain age, I'm definitely going to take myself out. Okay, I'm definitely going to do that. But it's the point, and it's the fact that people knew that I struggled in my past life, and then they come back and do it again and harass me at work. I cannot think of you as anything other than evil. Tell me, why should I think of you other than evil? I don't see you as anything other than evil. So when I deal with other people, I'm polite and everything like that. But I'm not really interested in getting involved with people's drama and their bullshit. I'm just not. Okay, so yeah, I understand how deep mind control can go. And that's exactly what happened here. Um, I am a I don't like to think of myself as holy, but I think that I possibly am holy. Meaning, like, the things that I think about are not like what other people think about. So I must be holy. I do have extremely high standards. You know what I mean? And that is it. I have very high standards. And yes, I do believe that the universal forces that I connect with, God, whatever, has always been the most important thing in my life. Yeah. So yeah, I probably am. And I did make mistakes when I was younger, but I think a lot of that has to do with me being bullied. You know what I mean? I was bullied a lot when I was a kid. So I think when I used to ditch school, I ditched school because I was being bullied. You know, I had problems at work because I was being bullied. All because of this. Because of something I had no control over. Yeah, I get angry about it. I get very angry about it. You know what I mean? And it's going to be pent up for a very long time, especially at 54 years old when I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to get to work every day. I have to rely on somebody else's vehicle. And you best believe I'm paying the insurance on that vehicle. But the point is like, I should have my own vehicle. And I did have my own vehicle. It got repossessed. You know why? Because people thought it was okay to play with my life. Good Christians. Christians. The most immoral group of people I have ever known. It's a fact. Anyway, but I did start off with Orthodox origins. What I mean by Orthodox, I would not really consider Jehovah's Witnesses Orthodox, but I did go to a Baptist church. I read the Bible, when I was growing up, and I wanted a wholesome life. Okay. No, I have never done anything that offended God. Now, if you guys don't understand that, that's not my problem. But you've made it my problem for like apparently centuries. Anyway, what else do I want to say? Oh, you know what I was thinking? I was thinking that for some reason I was thinking a couple days ago something that my dad said many years ago, and I know that this person has died many years ago, and they're not here to defend themselves. And I haven't really done any intuitive readings to find out whether or not this is true or not. And it's kind of silly, but the reason why I'm bringing it up is because it's making me think a lot about how clones are, like cloning in general. Okay. Like, I remember when I was a kid, my dad came in to dinner and he said, I'm watching this show. He was watching some preacher show, right? About this guy who said that he believed that Farrah Fawcett was a man, right? Now, we were kids at the time, and during the 70s, she was like, a pretty big deal. And I don't know if she was a man or not. But I do know that a lot of people talk about certain celebrities, like, for example, some women celebrities have Adam's apples. And some of these, I've just seen some pictures of some of these men that look rather effeminate. Some of these men have what they call man boobs, right? Right. Right. And I really do believe that in the cloning process, because this is a bloodline thing, that some of these people are coming back as mutants of themselves. Okay, by design of the Nazi technology, DNA messing up or whatever. Okay, this is the kind of stuff that they do. This is not anything that was issued by God. As a matter of fact, I wanted to quote something that I thought was really relevant. I wanted to quote it in my newsletter, but I didn't. And it was about something that was written in the Gnostic text about the archons and their creations and the way that they think, about how it's so far and so distant from God because it's an imitator of life. Just like cloning is an imitation. It is not real life. It is not real life. It is an imitation. Okay. Through the design of man. Now, I was thinking, because people like Charles Taze Russell, who was the early, he was like, I wouldn't call him like the main charge person who created Jehovah's Witnesses. He's more like he was more associated with the Bible students, okay, which eventually turned into Jehovah's Witnesses. But I often wonder, I'm starting to wonder, were these people inspired by C.B. Braganza? Because I know that they had an article in the Awake magazine, or was it Watchtower? I think I quoted it in one of my videos in the Let's Talk About Alien video, where they were talking about, can the Ethiopian change his skin color? I'm thinking, okay, what Ethiopian? They were probably talking about me at that time. You know what I mean? And so white people were comfortable with who they were, and they saw the world through white eyes. I have no interest in changing my skin color. Okay, but I do remember as a Jehovah's Witness, Jehovah's Witnesses believed that there was going to be a new earth. They believed that, and I talked about the cloning thing before, how I believed that this was being done through cloning. But see, the thing with Jehovah's Witnesses is that they believed that everything was going to be free. Like everybody was going to have like their own space, right? They're going to be able to grow their own fruit, and they're going to have like abundance of like, everything that they want, this is what they were visualizing, which is silly, right? But still, I'm just thinking about how deep this is, okay? And my mind is kind of blown, all right? It's completely normal for me to have mental issues. I do have mental issues because of this, okay? I do not function the same way that I don't trust people anymore. I will never trust another person. And I think I get that. I come off that way. I mean, I'm polite and everything, but I think people understand I'm not going to put up with people's bullshit. And not even a little bit. Okay. What I dealt with was a death plot that I did not appreciate. Especially from people who are not moral. You guys are so immoral. It's not even funny. Anyway, yeah, I do suspect that a lot of clones, celebrity clones, are mutants of themselves through this cloning process. Anyway, I did want to talk a little bit more about isms in religion. There was a time where, men benefited from being able to trade their daughters or whatever. They were kind of like commodities, right? And it became a part of the tradition. This is one of the reasons why a lot of women had no rights when it comes to religion. People tend to forget, where these things come from. Well, people now have evolved and realized that women can be abused. Women can be abandoned. They could experience all kinds of setbacks to where they need their independence and they have to stand up and do something for themselves. It has nothing to do with being defiant. It has nothing to do with being disrespectful to God. It has nothing to do with trying to, thumb down men. Some people seriously have to be protected. And so when I think about religion, like for example, in this case, we had this Nazi group, right? Who were behind the creation of me, not just me. I mean, I'm not the only clone that they've done, okay? But in this case, we had these Nazis who used, different means of communication to smear me, okay? And using the church was one way of doing that, right? And so, we have white people who try to use things like the Bible to prove their supremacy. And then the funny thing is, I remember some black people who used the Bible to prove their supremacy. See, and the thing is, the people who do this, obviously have never spent any time delving into the Bible because they pick and choose what they want. What I wanted when I came to my spirituality is I just want the truth. Not pick and choose. I want the truth. Okay? And there's certain things in the Bible that I have to look at and I have to think, okay, I understand that that was something that they did. Was this based on what God wanted or was it based on a tradition? And there are a lot of things that were in the Bible were based on the traditions of that time. And therefore, it doesn't apply to me. And you know what? I have a great relationship with the divine. So, yeah, there's a lot of isms that go on in this world, and I dealt with them all. I mean, I've dealt with racism, I've dealt with sexism, I deal with ageism, I deal with every ism possible. But this is, I do believe that the divine put me here for a reason. I am here for the human experience. Whatever, I keep getting this message, you're here for the human experience. Meaning that what I'm able to do, okay, it should be lasting, making some sort of impact on other people's lives for the people who want to hear it. Now, I am not somebody who wants people to convert to my way of living. I don't care. But people backed me into the corner and basically tried to make me feel and took and destroyed everything in my life to where there's very little left of my life. Okay, they were hoping I would commit suicide. These good fucking Christians. I fucking hate Christians. And I will always hate Christians. Okay? And like I said, this has nothing to do with people who pray to God sincerely. I hate institutional Christianity. Okay, why? Because it produces imbeciles. That's why. Okay, imbeciles that are willing to use their religion to hide behind their insecurities. Okay, I have a Jezebel spirit because I take care of myself and I look as good as I possibly can. That's what fat people tell themselves so they don't have to feel bad about themselves. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. You know what I mean? The thing is that when you clone people who are considered to be geniuses, you're putting them through misery. Okay, I have to deal with the bullshit of bullshit, just bullshit. You know what I mean? Bullshit that I shouldn't have to deal with. Okay, so for the people who want to act like they're sorry that they did this to me, I have a hard time dealing with that. I have a hard time accepting that. Hearing it, I don't really even want to hear it. I'm trying to get on with my life and I'm throwing myself into my projects. I do have this new bag, right? It's very inexpensive. The reason why I got it is because I have to carry like my notebooks in there. It's like I said, I'm in writing mode. Okay. My work is important to me. And I'm doing these projects because they're important to me. Okay. And I have to keep my mind busy. I cannot accept, or it's very difficult for me to accept that I was a part of some sort of Nazi plot, death plot. Okay. And that some of these people are walking around. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want these people walking around. These people who screwed me over, I'm going to tell you right, day and night, I'm going to wish you dead. Why do I say this? Because I feel like I have a right to. Okay. I have got no compensation for anything. No compensation. Okay, it gets to the point sometimes where I just get really, really tired of it. It is what it is. Okay, so anyway, I am proud of who I am and I am proud of my morals. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I needed to talk about it. Okay, just because I'm a strong person does not mean that I am somebody who can put up with that kind of abuse and then have absolutely nothing. Like I'm not going to have any sort of, what do you call it? Reaction. My reaction is that I look at people differently now. I don't see them the same anymore. And I'm not wrong to feel that way. Okay. In this new presentation that I will be talking about, I'm using some of the things I've experienced as an example. Okay. But it's not going to be a bash video. Okay. I'm going to be using examples of certain workplace things that people should be concerned about. People like, for example, me. It really should be important that I'm in a good workplace. Why? I'm already 54 years old. I need to get things moving with my life. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Okay. Unfortunately, I didn't have a choice. Okay. I was dealing with people and their negativity all my life. People literally put me in situations and left me to dig my own way out of it. It is what it is. Okay. I am a sincere person and I feel no interest in associating with low standards of society on any level. That's how I've always been. Okay, what else I want to say? I also get the intuitive message that a lot of people support my feelings about me not feeling love towards the people who mistreated me. Okay. I don't feel love for those people, and I do not see any reason to forgive them. Okay. Um, oh yes, this is another important thing that I wrote down because I think it was in a message. It says, "I have never shown favoritism in regards to race, only realism." Okay. Now, um, I'm a black woman, and I know that I've experienced racism. I don't act like racism doesn't exist. Okay, especially now knowing that this was a Nazi, especially knowing that these Nazis created this issue and was more than willing to abuse me and have other people abuse me, right? And then sit there and allow that shit to happen because this is the kind of low life scum that they are. Okay. I'm not ignorant that people do things to try to feel superior. I'm just not interested in playing your game. That's what it is. Okay. And as far as like, I understand most people don't have black, white, whatever, everything in between. Most people really do not have any sort of ethics or standards or any real structure in their life. Okay. And just like I was thinking of the days of Noah, like I'm referring to the Bible right now. Okay? Just like when the days of Noah, like when they talk about destroying the earth because God judged these people as worthy of death. And in a lot of these people's minds, they're wondering, what did I do wrong? I can't believe I did something. You did something wicked by what you did. If you knew that I was a being from heaven and didn't show the respect that if people knew that I was a being from heaven and you conjured me and showed me the respect, did not show me the respect that I deserve, you got exactly what you had coming to you. This is what I'm talking about, sacred things. I'm not saying I myself am sacred, but to call out to something and to draw something, okay, and not show respect. Okay? The same people who conjured me showed me no respect, and that's the problem. That's why a lot of people ended it, but whatever. Anyway, I Christian hypocrites never read the Bible, and a lot of them were just driven by ego. And I don't do things by my ego. Okay. Now I plan on sharing more about my spirituality in some upcoming writings that I'm going to be doing, but right now my main focus is working on the Autodidacts series, and then I'm also going to be talking about the workplace. Now I don't want to talk too much about the occult, but when I talk about morals that add to my spirituality, those are two different things. Okay. And I will be talking more about ethics and morals in different projects. I look forward to doing that. I'm proud to say that I am the most decent person I can be. Okay. I don't have blood on my hands. Okay. I'm not going to cause anyone pain. I know that in my life I've made some mistakes. I will tell you, I will never make the kind of mistake that you guys did. I'm going to wrap up this video. Have a good night.